everyone, and welcome back to A Theater Near You. I am your host, Chris Randazzo, and joining me tonight is enormous Schwanstucker, Paul Giroux.
I'm gonna be very popular.
And sweet mystery of life, Sean Doyle. This month's letter was Y, and since it happens to be Halloween, we went with Young Frankenstein, or Frankenstein. How does this comedy classic hold up? Let's find out. But first, how are you gentlemen?
Are we just getting into it? Because I've watched a lot of Leprechaun movies.
A lot of Leprechaun movies.
And I know you guys know that I watched a lot of Leprechaun movies, and Sean also watched a lot of Leprechaun movies.
A lot of Leprechaun movies.
Can I tell you how crestfallen I was when I watched 6 of them, and I was like, I'm done. And then you were like, there's 8 of them. And then
a lot of Leprechaun movies.
And then I challenged you and was like, there's not 8 of them. And then you sent me photographic proof that there was 8 Leprechaun movies. It ruined the rest of my week. It was awful. Oh.
I'm sorry I suggested it.
No, I mean, I'm glad I did it. I wish it stopped.
Glad I could say
why?
I did it.
Can you explain why you're glad you did it?
No one can say I didn't.
It was like it was an experience. It was a roller coaster ride. Yeah. How do you want to do this, Sean? Do we just start at 1 and we just talk about these things?
Sure. The middle gets a little hazy.
Yeah, that's what I like. I've watched so many and it all blended together that I'm not sure I remember what was what.
First one's a pretty straightforward. What was it? Probably like very late 80s, early 90s horror movie. A little formulaic, but it had some good bits to it. I mean, what's the actor's name who plays Leprechaun? He's good.
Warwick Davis. He's Wicket the Ewok, and he's in Star Wars, and he's Willow.
He's freaking Willow.
He's freaking Willow. He's good. He brings the character to life in a way that makes that first movie you're like, yeah, I can see this is a thing. Schlocky, but it's good schlock. I enjoyed it. I think it holds up just fine. I
thought the first movie
wasn't meant to be Shakespeare.
I thought the weirdest thing, not meant to be Shakespeare. He did talk in rhymed couplets like regularly. But I thought the weirdest thing about the first one was just how, I don't know, like how not much of a threat the Leprechaun seemed like. Like he just seemed like more of an annoyance than a scary monster threat. Like he did a lot of like scratching people or like biting people's hands when they put their hand in a tree stump, or I don't know, like that one guy, he fell in that bear trap and then like the Leprechaun just came out and like kicked him a bunch. Like he like he just seemed more annoying than threatening in the first one. For me, the most entertaining thing about the first one was the way he jumped into a lot of little vehicles. Like I think he drove a tricycle into town at one point. Then I think he was driving around in some other thing. Then he made like a weird little like demolition derby car. Like he, I think they got a lot of mileage out of making him ride around in small vehicles.
That demolition derby car, like we had a set. Like, and I know it's magic. I get magic, right? I get it. Magic, right? But we kind of had like a set thing going for the first like 80% of the movie where it's like, all right, this is his shtick. And then all of a sudden at the end, he walks into this thing and like cartoon whips up a drivable little vehicle for himself to drive around. And it's like, since when did he have these mechanical skills? Like, when did they establish this? So that seemed a little forced. But it was fun to watch him drive around in the little car, so they weren't wrong. It was pretty good.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I think one of the things that really held that movie together was Jennifer Aniston. Like, I'm not saying anybody's performance in that movie was brilliant, but I think with the lack of things to do, like Jennifer Aniston does that thing where she sort of plays anything with like urgency, and you can like hear her thinking out the problem as she tries to solve it. I feel like I've seen her do that in a lot of movies, and I think I think she was like single-handedly, her and Warwick Davis were single-handedly making it a movie, whereas everyone else was kind of like, okay, I'm here, I showed up, like, what do you now I get hurt, cool, thank you.
Right. The only other actor I ever saw in anything else was the rotund slow boy.
The guy who was Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That's exactly where I was going, man.
Yeah,
That's exactly where I was going. Francis and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So yeah, the first one, good. It's worth the watch if you've never seen it and you have any inkling towards like a schlocky Halloween movie. Some sort of stupid horror, a couple laughs. It's fine. It's sure, put it in rotation, no problems there. The second one is not quite as good because you minus Jennifer Aniston, who I'm not a huge fan, but I agree. She was acting. She was acting like she wasn't acting. That's what acting is. Acting like you're not acting.
Acting like you're not acting.
So act, but don't act like you're acting. That's from The Rocketeer.
Exactly. That's where I was going. So yeah, then you roll into the second one.
Now,
the second one
was the second one the one with the guy that gave the tours around Hollywood in the hearse?
Yeah. The third one was in Vegas. So the second one was in Hollywood.
So one of the reasons I'm having a hard time delineating which was that, like, how do I put this? Like, you watch any other series of movies and you go, oh, okay. Let's use the Friday the 13th, for example, right? Oh, okay. We blew Jason up. We exploded him. We sunk him in the lake, whatever, right? Then the next one has to start with why he wakes up in the lake. Oh, the wire got moved and it electrified him and he came back to life. Oh, the kid dug him up and he stuck the stake, the post through him and lightning struck it and he reanimated, right? Like, we always know what happened to him and then how he comes back for this other movie. The Leprechaun, that seemed to have no continuity with the previous,
continuity.
However,
they just said F it. They killed him in every one, and each time you thought it was supposedly permanent, and each time he resurrected in a seemingly unrelated scenario.
So, which begged the question for me: was he a different leprechaun each time, or was he the same leprechaun?
At one point, like 3 or 4 movies in, I was like, "Oh, it's just a different leprechaun," and they just keep having Warwick Davis play the leprechaun, but it's a different leprechaun every time with no connective tissue. Just these are what happens with leprechauns. But then in number 5, they made it clear that he is the one and only leprechaun. I'm throwing 5 out there. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but in one of them they were like, and here's this storybook at the beginning, and they were like, only one leprechaun was freed, and all the other leprechauns went away, and that one leprechaun keeps coming around and causing trouble. And there's only one leprechaun. It was like beating me over the head with it. Like, no, this is the same leprechaun the whole time. Like, well, each movie you kind of changed the rules. Like, I think it's movie 3, they added an amulet that could stop him, and then they forgot. The first 2 movies, the second one was a sequel. They did all the sequel things that you should do in a sequel, and it was 80% as good as the first one. Because that's what you do with a sequel. You're just a little crappier than the original.
I think that's right on. The second one, I feel like I liked it no better or no worse than the first one. My big grievance with the second one was that there was a lack of small vehicles. Like, the first one had a lot of small vehicles. The second one had virtually no small vehicles.
I think it had one. I think they squeezed one in because they realized they didn't have one. They're like, oh, quick, squeeze one in.
It was a go-kart. The one dude worked at a go-kart place, so they introduced the go-kart place. So immediately I was like, this leprechaun's going to be driving around on go-karts. And then you didn't get on a single go-kart until the end of the movie, which at least
unacceptable.
Yeah, at least they got back to it. But I expected more small vehicles.
But here's the problem. It's not with 2. I don't really have much to say about 2 other than it's 80% of the first one, which is fine. That's kind of where your head is at. The real problem is when you get to 3, because that's when they add the amulet. And that's when they also just start forgetting things from the first 2. And I know that the second one didn't make any sense. You're like, how did the leprechaun get out? Spoiler alert for Leprechaun. They blow him up using a 4-leaf clover.
They shoot a 4-leaf clover into his mouth. And he
melts.
He explodes and he falls down a well first, and then he explodes.
Right.
As you do.
Right. So, dead. The second one, they're just like, fuck it. We're just going to start. And they don't explain how he got out of the well or came back or anything. They're just like, here we go. And it's completely unrelated. Fine, whatever.
Third one. Hang on. Which made me wonder if it was a different leprechaun, because the first leprechaun said he was something like 600 years old, right? Then the second leprechaun starts and they go 1,000 years ago. Or no, wait, was that what it was? It was.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
It
was something. It was
right.
Some number of years ago, right? And
at one point they said 2,000. It might have been the third or the fourth one. And then in that same movie, he said he predated Jesus. And I'm like, I don't think your math's good, because they said I was born 2,000 years ago at one point, and then like later on, they said something about like he was older than Jesus, and I was like, no,
yeah,
a little over 2,000 years ago.
The second one starts with a flashback that was, in like, I don't know, Elizabethan times or something, and then when he comes back, he like comes back in a tree that was from Ireland that was like planted in L.A. or something. So like it had nothing to do with the first movie. It was like a tree that he came out of.
Yeah, which was new. But here's where it really falls apart. It's not the adding of random new things like he's in a tree from Ireland that's also a magical maze, or in the third one, okay, now this amulet can stop him, so let's put the amulet on him, or all the other crap they end up adding. They add all kinds of crap. That's not the problem, in my opinion. I think the problem...
Chris, I just heard you yawn. We haven't even gotten to space yet. I just need to say that.
I believe me. I'm enthralled by the conversation. I'm just tired.
Okay.
Please, go on.
The problem with the Leprechaun series...
I'm more interested in the hood than space, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, I have so much to say about space. But, Sean, please go back to 3.
The problem start in 3 when they forget their roots. It's not that they add crap. You got to add crap in these movies. It's that they start forgetting about shit. In the first 2, they were pretty consistent that if he came across dirty shoes, he had to stop what he was doing and clean the shoes. Like, that was his thing, and they kept that in the
That was his Achilles heel?
Yes.
Was shoes?
Dirty or unorganized shoes. If you, like, knocked over a shoe rack, you had a good 5 minutes to run, because he had to sit there and pick them up one at a time, brush them off, and put them down. Despite his apparent magical speed ability to build a go-kart, he had to do this at normal human speed. Each shoe picked up, rubbed off, put down in a nice, neat pair, right? Except for the one time he came across a pair of Crocs. I don't remember which movie that was in.
That was in number 8.
Was it? He just threw him in the trash. He was like, no. I'm gonna help everybody out here.
That was brilliant.
I'm gonna do my nice deed. But so in general, like that was your move, right? And they lost that, and then they got away from the 4-leaf clover was the only thing that could stop them. And I just said it's okay that they added the amulet, but they could have just tied it back in and said that there was 4-leaf clovers in the amulet or something. I don't know. But then by like one of the movies, they just totally forgot that. And then by the time they get to number 4 was space, right?
Yeah.
By the time they get to 4,
hang on, just before we move on from 3. Again, other things that didn't make sense about 3. If you had his gold, he had to grant you a wish. Like, all things that, like, did not happen in the movies before.
Right. And then sometimes the gold was his powers. And when he didn't have his gold, he didn't have powers.
Yeah. Oh, also in 3, he bit that guy, and that guy turned into a leprechaun, just like a werewolf would bite you and turn into a werewolf.
He bit so many people in the other movies.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of his go-to move. I mean, sometimes he would just kick you when you were down, sure.
Did he bite 8 people? Because that would explain. There's the rest of your leprechaun. It is a different guy, but it's all from the same guy.
We just didn't watch the transitions occur.
No, Chris, you don't understand. It's not as if he bit you and you turned into a carbon copy of him. That might be funny. It was that he bit you and like you started having these weird facial features and sprouting hair in weird places, and then like talking with like a faux Irish accent that was kind of insulting to anybody, that whether they're Irish or not.
And that was it? Like, he wouldn't shrink and start wearing green and shit?
You wanted that to happen, but no.
driving around in tiny vehicles, nothing.
No, you
Nothing.
lusted for gold.
Yes. Yeah.
Who
Lusted
doesn't?
for gold. All right, space.
All right, so number 4. Bam. We're in space. We did it. We got here.
How?
This one goes right out the window.
No
It's
explanation of how.
fun. No
like,
explanation.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It starts
Okay.
out, I shit you not. It
Meanwhile, in
starts out
space?
with some space marines, and they're like, we gotta go and kill this creature. And then it cuts to the leprechaun having like dinner with some princess on some planet, and she's not a good person, and he's not a good person. And at first you think he's captured her, right? But then he's like, you know, if you marry me, we can kill your dad, and then I'll be king, and you'll have all his gold, and you can have all my gold too. And he magically makes a bunch of gold appear. And she's like, yeah, okay. This sounds like a good plan. So while they're both bad people, right? The Space Marines show up, and they rescue, quote unquote, this woman from him. And then he spends the rest of the movie trying to get her back because he's decided he wants to be the king of this region of space or whatever it is. That's right. We're into like deep space politics out the gate on this one with no backstory. And then it occurs to me, I think he's the good guy. She was a willing participant, his fiance. They kidnapped her against her will and took her away. And he spent the rest of the movie trying to get her back. How is he not the good guy in this scenario? I mean, none of them were great. Oh, and the Space Marines, although they weren't fully abreast of the situation, but Nazis might not have been fully abreast of what Hitler was doing completely, but they went along with it. We're still going to kind of blame them. The Space Marines didn't know this, but they were abducting this woman so some doctor could do experiments on her to prolong his own life.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it didn't matter that the leprechaun was the leprechaun. Like, in a lot of ways, they were just making like a space alien movie, and like you could have substituted the leprechaun with any alien. And in a lot of ways, I guess it tried to parody other movies, right? Like there was, I texted it to you guys because it like shocked me to my core. At one point, they blow him up. The leprechaun explodes, which is not a problem in this movie because he got blown up multiple times in this movie. And then one of the Space Marines pees on him, on his, like, you know, the pieces he left behind. And then some sort of magical thing happens where he travels up the pee stream. And then later he like bursts out of that dude's crotch, kind of like, you know, the chest burster bursts out of you, an alien. So like they were definitely trying to do an alien thing. That doctor, I feel like that was parodying some movie, right? Like he was like part robot, and he had like human parts, and he was trying to like make some kind of DNA concoction so that he could grow new parts or whatever. Like it was all sci-fi gook that was baked into that movie.
Yeah, and then to finish that one off, there's a shrink ray, grow ray in the cargo hold. Why wouldn't there be?
What?
What?
This is Shrink Ray Grow Ray?
Yes.
Yeah,
When they
right.
fight him at the end of the movie, he is a giant leprechaun. He is no longer little. He is big. And all the like weird
20
crates and
foot
stuff
tall.
in the cargo bay are like little, and he's kicking them around, and they have to
But
like
he can't find his gold because they shrank the gold, but they made him big. So now the gold's very, very small, like the size of a thimble, and he's very, very big, like the size of a, I don't know, he was bigger than a polar bear. He was big. He was like 20 foot. He was big.
And to defeat him, they had to explode him and suck him out the airlock, which, again, I will reiterate that exploding him did very little in this movie. But I think that because he was outside the ship, that was what made it the end.
Right, because even once he was exploded, his severed hand gave them the finger. So
Yes.
he clearly wasn't dead. And then
But there was no space pea stream to float into, I guess.
Right,
Yes, exactly.
and it didn't really explain why his magic wasn't just letting him magic back in, because like he's been teleporting through all of these movies, as far as I can tell. Like, teleportation is not outside the realm of what he can do. He just ends up places. Like, he just magically appears inside a safe and pops out because he's got teleportation powers.
His essence can travel up a Space Marine's pee stream. I mean...
But it can't get back inside a cargo hold through an airlock. That's unreasonable. So that gets us done with space. Now we'll jump back in time a few thousand years to the Hood.
And that
was Hood 5 and 6?
The Hood was 5 and 6, and the 5 brought back the amulet, right?
Right. Yeah. Brought back the amulet from the third one.
The third one. I do have to say I was happy to see the amulet come back. I also
showed some consistency.
It showed some consistency. I also got to say, when the amulet showed up in the third one, look, even though there was a lot not to like about the third one, I felt like at least there was an acknowledgement that, like, hey, stuff happened between these movies and this, and we're going to acknowledge that it happened so that we explain why it's not starting where the last one ended. Because, like, in the third one, when that dude walks into the pawn shop with the leprechaun, who's now a statue, and the amulet around his neck that turns him into a statue, and the guy had, like, a hook hand and, like, a broken leg and, like, an eye patch, so you could see that he had been, like, tortured by the leprechaun, and he was like, what will you give me for this? Like, get this thing away from me. Like, I enjoyed that, but I was also like, I want to see that movie. Like, I want to know what happened to that guy. The fifth one starts with the amulet again, right? Like, Ice-T finds him in the like underground with the amulet around his neck.
Right. Yeah. Because why the hell were they down there digging?
I don't know.
So the movie could happen.
Right. So Ice-T and some other guy are down and they're digging and they find this thing.
In the 70s, right?
Yeah, sure. It's got to be the 80s.
I think, yeah, or in the early 80s or something. And then
to make the timeline work out for Ice-T's age by the time we age him up.
Yeah, and then it cuts to
present day, which was 2000.
Ice-T gets that magic flute from him, which makes Ice-T this, like, all-powerful, like, record producer. And then, yeah, when we pick up in the 90s, Ice-T is a hot shot, and he's got the leprechaun captive with the amulet.
So yeah, now the leprechaun has a magic flute that controls people's will. Ice-T takes that from him and puts the amulet back on him to turn him into a stone. And then Ice-T with this flute that literally makes you control people. He has it for 20, 30 years, and all he's able to do is become a mid-level record producer who, I mean, still seems to have criminal enterprises going. Like, he didn't take over the world. He didn't even seem that rich. He seemed like he was a mid-level record producer. It really wasn't very impressive at all. And he was just, like, driving around looking for talent. Like, he really
also
dropped the ball on an all-powerful flute.
Ice-T should have died several times in that movie, and, like, I feel like the leprechaun would kill everybody around him, and then Ice-T would just be like, I'm getting out of here.
Oh.
Yeah, so the fifth one was about a trio of rap artists that want to make it big, that then break into Ice-T's house and steal the magic flute and inadvertently also let the leprechaun loose. And then the leprechaun spends the rest of the movie trying to get his magic flute back and his gold, and ends up killing everybody that this trio interact with on his way to find the trio. Including, I think they do kill one of the guys from the trio, right?
They do. Yep.
Only two of those guys make it to the end of the movie. But he kills the pawn shop guy that they try to sell the guitar to. He kills the other guy that they try to sell stuff to. He kills the trans character that they hide out with. Kills that pastor, right? Because they go to the church. Like he kills a whole bunch of people,
Oh, yeah.
and then he doesn't really end up killing all of them. He like I guess he becomes their manager or something, and then
So,
does a rap
yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, so at the end, you think the good guys won, quote unquote good guys. You think that they won, and then you find out that they're really just under his control and he's their manager. And then he comes out and does a rap. And that's probably the most memorable scene, right? Is him
Sure.
doing his little rap.
Yeah.
What else did you want to see at a Leprechaun in the Hood? You wanted him to do like a rap video.
I mean, look, when I heard that there was a movie a long time ago when it first came out, that there was a Leprechaun in the Hood movie, I never would have imagined that a magic flute would have so much to do with it.
You know what you really didn't imagine? That there would be Leprechaun 6, Back to the Hood. That's right. They went from,
Space.
the woods was the first one. Then they went to Hollywood, Vegas, outer space, the Hood. And then they were like, where should we go next? Let's just go back to the Hood.
They'll never see it coming.
It made me think that the Hood must have been so popular that they had to go back to the Hood. But then once I saw the Hood, I was like, this is no better or worse than space.
That should be the pull quote for the back of the box.
This is
no better or worse than space.
Back to the Hood was just a watered down version of the Hood.
Yeah, I literally,
tea.
I have nothing to say about Back to the Hood. Like the characters were not as memorable. There was no iced tea.
The Hood wasn't as memorable.
The Hood wasn't as memorable. I mean, I think it was all shot on like one block in the Hood, really.
In one take.
Yeah.
The only memorable scene I could think of was when he killed the Leprechaun killed some drug dealers that were trying to harass the main character, and he like gets the guy's phone and he answers it. Like he gets to the phone and he's walking away and the phone's ringing, so he answers it and it's like a girl, and you can't really hear her voice. But he's like, "Oh well, he's not available right now." And he says something clever and he's like, "What, me? Oh well, And then he starts to scream. He's like, "Well, no, I'm a little short. Well, no, I'm pretty strong." I don't know. It was a funny bit. It was him basically sort of hitting on the girl. Or the girl was hitting on him, and he didn't know how to react. I don't know. It was all right.
Yeah,
there were some chuckles.
He did get a little more violent in that movie. Like at one point, I think he like ripped off somebody's leg and beat them with it, or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was good. I liked that part.
And also, that movie
He
did
just
bring
tore
back.
it right off.
It did bring back the four-leaf clover thing. Remember they they put
it in the hollow points.
Four-leaf clover in the hollow point bullets, and then they're shooting them with the bullets.
Where do they get four-leaf clover from?
God, Chris, I love you. I love you for asking the right question. So in the beginning of the movie, the one guy buys a bag of weed and he tries to return it to the pot dealer, and he says, "There's a bunch of clovers in here." Completely unrelated. And then at the end of the movie, they're like, "We need four-leaf clovers or he's going to kill us." And that guy pulls out, and he's like, "I got it." And the other guy's like, "You ain't got it." And he pulls out this bag of weed that's got a bunch of clovers in them, and they all happen to be four-leaf clovers. And then they take those and they put them in the hollow point bullets, and then they shoot them with the hollow point bullets.
And then he falls in wet cement.
Oh, yeah, that's what stops him.
Yes.
What?
So they shoot him with like 6 hollow point bullets full of four-leaf clovers and weed, and like all his magic starts to leave his body, but then he sucks it back in, and then he's okay.
Then concrete stops him.
And they shoot him again, but this time before he can suck the magic back in, he falls into concrete. Just a little bit of cement.
Now, I just want to reiterate, it was after this point that I thought I was done.
Apparently, so these are what I would call the good movies. Let's talk about the bad movies.
These are what you would call the good movies. This is what I would like to call the Warwickiverse. No. These were part of the Warwick universe.
So after this one, Warwick Davis was just done with it, and now
he's not in the last 2.
Well,
right.
The next one, and look, I'm gonna be fully transparent about this one. Number 7, if you want to call it that. Like, I only watched half of it. Like, it was.
You saw more than enough. I got to the end. It was
unwatchable.
Just horrifically bad. The acting was bad. The writing was bad. Everything about this was bad. Some kids are walking through Ireland, and they come upon this town, and the town's like, "Oh, you should stay here. There's some good stuff." And they're like, "Oh, well, maybe." And they're like, "You could stay in this house for free." And they go and stay in the house, and they instantly get locked in the house. And they're like, "They locked us in. Oh, how do we get out of here?" And then the Leprechaun shows up, but it's not Warwick Davis, and it's not the Leprechaun. It's more like
kind of looked like a demon or something. Like, it looked like
it was like a
little demon.
Yeah, it wasn't even that little. That's the point. It wasn't even that small. Like, it was probably like a 4'8" guy in like just like a skin suit with some teeth. I guess he had pointy ears. He wasn't wearing green. He had no hat.
He didn't drive around in a little vehicle.
He absolutely did not.
I was looking for little vehicles. He did not drive anything. I don't even think he could drive.
No.
He couldn't speak. He just grunted.
It was more like somebody shaved a werewolf. I don't know. This
all sounds horribly disappointing.
Yeah, it wasn't funny at all. And then, like, but it was just as bad without any of the humor, you know? And so then, like, the kids get out of the house, and the thing starts picking them off, and it turns out the town was sacrificing them to this thing because they dug a gold mine and pissed it off, and if they don't sacrifice some kids every now and then, it comes into their part of the town and eats one of them. But it didn't make a lot of sense how they were controlling or steering it to eat the kids instead of the other people in the town. And then the kids do a bunch of stupid things, and the town is bad and whatever, and then one or two of them get away at the end, I think. They run past the magic stones. The whole thing was absolute garbage. God, so many bad things about that one.
Where do you even begin?
There was one or two interesting kills, I guess, if you're just going to watch it like a horror movie. But to label it Leprechaun was just a complete waste. Didn't make any damn sense. You could have made this about anything else, and you kind of deceived your audience going in. This was just like I don't know. It wasn't bad enough. Like, they weren't doing a bit. Like, it was.
I mean, I think the only thing it had going for it is that it was supposed to take place in Ireland. You know, I think that was the only thing that I keyed into, where I was like, maybe some of these other movies that were called Leprechaun shouldn't have taken place in like Vegas and LA in space. But yeah, beyond that, it was not funny or watchable. Really, it was rough.
It was an unimaginative, just slapping that sticker on something. It was just nonsense.
And the last one,
don't watch.
I am glad that I got to the last one. Like, I was feeling so defeated after that number 7 that I was like, oh God, like, what have I done? But then I was glad that I watched the last one. The last one was like a sci-fi original movie, and it was really almost like a direct sequel to the first one.
It was absolutely a direct sequel to the first one, and probably the best. Like, when you watch number 7, and you're like, what did they do wrong? And you come up with this laundry list of things they did wrong, and then you're like, what did they do right? And you're like, nothing. I guess it was set in Ireland. I'll give them that one. And then they were like, well, that was terrible. Let's do the opposite of what 7 did. And that's what they did. They were like, well, 7 got rid of the funniness. Let's put the funniness back. They got rid of the talking guy. And they made it directly tie into the first one, where it's like Jennifer Aniston's kid comes back to the farm. They explain how the leprechaun gets out of the well. They bring back the Francis from Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. They do everything right.
And I thought that new guy that played the leprechaun was pretty funny. Like, I thought he was pretty entertaining.
He was. I don't know why that one wasn't Warwick Davis. I don't know why they didn't get him back. Maybe he's too old. I don't know. But the guy they had to replace him was fine. He was fine. I guess Sci-Fi Channel just couldn't afford Davis.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
But yeah, no, the eighth one. If you're gonna watch two Leprechaun movies, I think it's the first and eighth, right? You watch the first, then you watch the eighth. Then after that, I don't know. Go to space, go to the hood, have some fun with it.
Does seem like you can watch them in any order since there was virtually no continuity.
No continuity. And you have to ignore anything that starts to look like continuity because it won't work with the other ones. Except maybe 1 and 8. They seem to mash up pretty nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I asked you guys what kind of franchises you get into. You said Leprechaun. I went and ran with it. Glad I did it, but it got rough. Got rough at a certain point.
Sure did. And you know what? I'm pretty sure I like 8. I'm not sure that it just wasn't such a breath of fresh air after having watched 7 minutes earlier. Like, sure. I watched the two of them in one night, and 7 was so bad. And then I put on 8, and I was just like, man, this feels good. A return to force.
I can attest. I think 8 was genuinely pretty fun. Yeah. Thanks for taking that journey with me, Sean. That was it was cool. It was cool that you went there.
Yeah. Good times.
And now you don't have to, Chris.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can't imagine watching the movies would be any more entertaining than what I just sat through.
Unfortunately, probably not. I don't know if that's a credit to us or a slight on the movie makers, but either way, it's probably accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Well, Young Frankenstein was great. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Wait, I have one more. I have one more non-Leprechaun, Halloween-oriented movie.
Sure.
To discuss. So the other night, I found out that they were playing Evil Dead over at the theater in Ventnor. Friend of ours, Crazy Amy.
Right. Yeah, I remember you told me about that. There was no chance I was going to get there.
Right. Friend of ours, Crazy Amy, she was like, hey, I got Evil Dead, the original. Old school, 1981, maybe.
Sure.
I had to guess.
Yeah.
Over at the theater. I'm like, great. Let's 9 o'clock at night, 9:45 at night. I'm like, does it have to be that late? Yep, that's it. That's what time we're gonna do this. Okay, fine. So we go. It's that theater in Ventnor, and they've got a bar. It's the one where I took my mom to see porn things. So I went there. There was about 10 of us. A couple of us got in costume. I dressed up as Ash. We had a couple other costumes. It was fun. We were all there. $5 tickets. Ventnor Theater, $5 tickets. They have a bar. I don't know why this place isn't packed out, right? I mean, what else do you want, So, okay, we go. And, of course, about half of the people that went with us, it was about 10 of us, 11, 12, I don't know, whatever there was, 3 or 4 of them hadn't seen the movie. One of the people who hadn't seen the movie was my son, Zach, who I brought. My son, Zach, is 26, but he has never seen Evil Dead. That's on me. He has seen Army of Darkness, but I never showed him the original. So I'm sitting there in the theater where I watched porn things with my mother as this tree rapes this woman. I was like, oh, yeah, kind of uncomfortable sitting next to my son during the tree rape scene. But all right, fine, whatever.
Saying a lot of sentences right now.
Saying a lot of sentences. So, all right, whatever. Couple scenes later, I decide I'm going to go relieve myself. It's a slightly boring scene in the middle. I'm like, I got 2 minutes before something great happens. Let me hop up, go take a leak. I hop up. I got to go to the left, walk down a little, cross it all the way in front of the screen, and out the door on the right. That's my journey. I leave. Unbeknownst to me, the man dressed as a skeleton that was with us, our friend Perrine, who is a 6'6" Indian man, lanky, as you would imagine, if you can imagine that. He's dressed as a skeleton. He sees me go, and he decides it's time for him to take a leak as well. He stands up, goes to the left, down one flight of stairs, a little flight of stairs, 2 rows or whatever, and makes the right to go across that center concourse like I did, cutting in front of the screen, as you do, right? I come back in the theater, not knowing he attempted to follow me out. You'll notice the key word in that sentence is attempted. I come back in and I see a commotion. I mean a commotion. A lot of stuff going on down right. And I'm like, wonder what that's about. But I keep walking. because I'm like, that's somebody else's situation, and there's a lot of people involved. They seem like they got it. Until I hear, Sean, help me get him off the floor. It's Jay Ring. Apparently, Perrine stood up. All the blood rushed away from his head or to his head. I don't know. He got dizzy and tumbled forward a little bit. But he's too tall, and there's no railing, and it's stadium seating. So then the one seat hit him in the knee, and he flipped over like 3 rows of seats, went down, just slow motion falling, arms, legs akimbo, flailing about, hit his head, knocked himself unconscious.
Whoa.
Jay Rings tried to get him up off the floor to lay him flat so that he'll come back to consciousness, which worked like magic. It's one of those things I remember them teaching us that in the Army. And just being like, yeah, all right, lay it flat. As soon as we got him completely flat, he regained consciousness. He was a little confused. The EMTs come, we get him out of there. And of course, I mean, now it's like me and Bonnie and Keith and Jay Ring, and we're like, we're going to triage. Where do you triage? In a movie theater? Well, we brought him back over to the bar, because where else are we going to bring him? I don't know. There's not a lot of seating options, right?
There's disinfectant at the bar.
Right. So we get back to the bar. We got him sitting down now. Jay's checking him out. He's like, I don't think he has a concussion. I look up to the bartender. I'm like, well, we're here. I mean, can we do a round? Bartender went along with this. I cannot believe that bartender served us after we had to pick one of us up off the floor. And that's right around the time when Jay turns to me and he goes, his collarbone is definitely broken.
Oh, God. Did you get him a drink? Because it sounds like he needed one.
Jay advised water only. We ended up getting him over to the hospital. His collarbone's very broken.
Oh,
He'll
wow.
be out of commission for a few weeks. So,
Jeez.
So that was my Halloween movie experience.
Yep, didn't know where that story was going.
Nope. That was quite the ride.
Yeah.
I hope Perrine's okay.
Yeah,
he's fine. He
Yeah.
was in good spirits that night.
We're wishing you a speedy recovery, Perrine.
I did bring a friend who hadn't hung out with us like many times before, and at the end I was like, I'd love to tell you it normally goes better than this, but this all seems par for the course.
I wasn't gonna say anything nearly that exciting. I mean, we were just talking Halloween and movies, and so I guess the only thing that I have that's relatable, and I was telling Chris this before we started recording, but Sean, guess what my kid is being for Halloween?
Ooh. Garfield is a pirate.
No. Good guess though, but no. It's movie related. I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Movie related, but it has to do with Halloween, so it's got to be. Wait for it. Oh, is he being Jamie Lee Curtis?
That's also a good guess. A little weird, but no, he is not.
Okay, all right. He's old enough. Cross-dressing, it doesn't have to mean anything. All right. What about I'm going weird again. Do you have like a couple's costume where he's bursting out of your stomach, alien style?
That would be good, but no. Maybe next year. I don't know how we're going to pull that off, but that's a good idea. No, I'm going to send you a picture. Ready? Here you go.
We have us a Godfather costume.
Yeah, he's Vito Corleone. I know this is not a visual medium, but I just sent Sean a picture of my kid in a pinstripe suit with a lapel on his chest and a fake mustache, and he's been walking around going like, "I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse." So,
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good costume.
He's
This
happy
is
about
because you guys took a trip to Italy.
Yeah, it's this new thing
Just
now.
sank in.
Godfather
Yep.
impressions. Which, look, there's worse thing kids can be into, so.
Sure. Love it. It's great.
Well, it's 9:42. You guys talked about leprechauns for about 40 minutes, I think.
No, we should talk about the movie, but, we did have to talk about Leprechaun. Sorry.
No, absolutely. No need to apologize. No apology necessary.
It was important.
I understand. It was indeed
Young
important.
Frankenstein. is a jaunty romp through the mind of Ernest Borgnine. You didn't know that? That's what it's based on.
Young Frankenstein was released in theaters on December 15th, 1974, and was distributed by 20th Century Fox. It was written by Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, and directed by Brooks as well. Wilder is probably most well known for his acting career, but his other writing credits include The World's Greatest Lover, The Woman in Red, and See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Mel Brooks' directing career is pretty legendary, including the likes of Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, and History of the World Part 1. The movie stars Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman, Cloris Leachman, Terry Garr, Kenneth Mars, and Madeline Kahn. It tells the story of a descendant of the legendary Dr. Frankenstein following in his footsteps to create a new monster and the various hijinks that ensue. Me, Karen, Sean, my mom, and my kids watched this via nefarious means a week or two ago at this point, and Sean brought candy for some reason.
Because
I feel like you missed a really good opportunity in that explanation to say, following in his father's footsteps.
Oh, it's a good point. Yeah, I did miss that.
And then say footsteps, footsteps, footsteps. But I watched it. I guess I had a weird situation because we thought we were recording last week, so I started watching it last week, and I probably only watched half of it, and I think I was not in the right headspace. I had other things on my mind, and I wasn't really enjoying it. And then I finished watching it last night, and I enjoyed it very much, and I had a great time. I think I was in a much better headspace, and I ate some chocolate-covered bananas, which was cool.
Nice.
My candy made perfect sense. It's a horror movie we're watching for Halloween. I know it didn't tie into the title of the movie, but it's a Halloween movie on Halloween, so candy.
That's fair. I invited my mom to come watch because it's one of her all-time favorite movies. You know, obviously the sex humor was a little less than comfortable when I'm sitting on the couch with my mom and my daughter, but you know, whatever. You know what? Ellie seemed to enjoy it. John liked it, and he was enjoying the beginning of it, but I think he was pretty bored because he went off to bed by the end of the movie. He was like, "Well, I'm going to bed." So I think he had about enough of that. And to be fair, I do think the back half of this movie is a lot slower than the front half. The beginning's got some of like the most legendary jokes, the really funny stuff, the really witty walk this way kind of stuff. And the end of it, I don't think the end's as funny as the beginning. Like him, you know, settling into having a nagging wife, marriage, blah. It's fine. It's okay. But the front chunk of this movie is absolutely hysterical.
That's so funny because I feel like I had the opposite reaction this time around. But again, I think it really was me. I think I wasn't in a place last week to want to enjoy the movie. But I like the part where I stopped it was pretty much right before he reanimated the monster. It was, it was right at the part where they say the thing about accepting defeat with quiet dignity, and then he turns back around and pounds on his chest, and he goes, "You son of a bitch!" But that was pretty much where I had stopped it and picked it back up. But I think that once Peter Boyle is in play as the monster, the movie sort of just has a really fun turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. I always, everything with Igor, the friggin' picking the wrong brain, the everything about his facial expressions, the Igor joke about Frankenstein,
Abby normal.
I mean, God, what hump? Jesus Christ!
Wasn't your hump on the other side?
That joke is so stupid and so funny. I mean, the whole conversation with what does he say? What's his first name? Frodrick,
yeah.
Frodrick Frankenstein. No, it's pronounced Igor. Just cracks me up. Damn your eyes. Too late. There's so many good bits. far and away my favorite part of that movie is Igor. The Peter Boyle stuff is also great. The putting on the Ritz number is
so good.
Classic.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The movie is really well cast.
For sure.
And has amazing performances in it. Look, I was sort of trying to figure out what exactly to say about this movie because it is hard for me to know exactly how it holds up, right? Like I love this movie. And Chris, you mentioned oh, it was uncomfortable sitting through all the sex jokes with your mom and your kids, right? I saw this more than a few times when I was a kid, and I realized how much of that I just completely missed. Like, just so much stuff I didn't get, or stuff that I thought was funny, but I didn't understand why it was funny. Like for example, oh God, what was it?
When the monster jumps on top of the woman and Ellie turns to me and says, "What's he doing to her?" And I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah. Well. So okay. So in terms of sex jokes, I did not realize that the enormous Schwanzstucker had a callback when I was a kid. When he takes Madeline Kahn off, into the woods or wherever he takes her, and she's like protesting, and then all of a sudden she goes like, "Ooh, wah, wah, wah," or something like that. Like, I did not realize she was looking at his dick when I was a kid. I think I really only realized it this watching. I was like, I knew that like they then, had sex, but like, I didn't realize that was the thing that made the that had the comeback there. Another thing when I was a kid, like, and this is an example of a thing that I thought was funny, but I didn't realize why it was funny. I thought the thing was so funny with the charades and the sedative, because like when I was a kid, I thought it was so funny that like he couldn't get it right, and that he's like, "Oh, give him a sedative. That must be it. Sedative. Like, why would anyone say that?" The thing that's funny is that like he's in a headlock, and the most effective way that he can to communicate it is a full-out game of charades. And then that even comes back, right? Doesn't he then put Igor in the headlock, and then he starts a game of charades? Yeah, I mean, I think this movie is funny to people of all ages, but I think it's a sort of specific, very nuanced comedy that you sort of have to key into. And, I don't know. I don't know how much of it is nostalgia and how much of it is, the movie's brilliance. It's kind of hard to say.
I think it's really largely the movie's brilliance, because Ellie has no nostalgia for it, and especially a black and white movie on top of that. And she was mostly with it. She picked up on some of the clever stuff in the beginning. I think it's that there's more clever wordplay towards the beginning than there is towards the end. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the humor that her and John gravitated to a bit more. So yeah, I would say it holds up, because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I still thought it was fantastic. The kids had obviously never seen it before, and while John did fuck off to bed at a certain point, Ellie hung, and that's I think that's pretty high praise for a movie of this vintage, especially one in black and white. And that I also found it kind of odd that my kids didn't have as much familiarity with the whole Frankenstein story as I expected them to at this point. I mean, granted, I've never shown them Frankenstein movies before, but they watch TV. Like, I just kind of figured they would have picked up on this by now. But then a couple days ago, Ellie was watching one of her horrid Disney Channel shows or whatever, some garbage on Netflix, and there was like a whole Frankenstein's monster thing where a mad scientist was doing stuff, and he was catching lightning bolts and moving a platform up, and she's looking at me like, "Look, it's like Young Frankenstein." I'm like, "Well, I think it's more like Frankenstein, but good on you."
Yeah.
At least there's some frame of reference going on.
Yeah.
You know what we forget Kids today, they don't know. They don't know what we had to deal with. No. Kids today have so many viewing options. When I was a kid, in my day, you know, especially when I was real little, we had 12 channels, right? And even once we got cable when I was a little bit older, like 10 or something, we had, I don't know, it might have been 20 channels, 25 channels, something like that. And most of them were crap, like just absolute, as a kid, garbage, right? So like when Godzilla came on, or Frankenstein came on, or Dracula came on, like you stopped and watched it. You were like, oh, this is a movie that I could actually maybe want to see. And you would stop and you would watch it. It was like a thing. I remember like watching the original Godzilla because it was on WPXL 11 or whatever. And like, no kid today is going to stop and watch Godzilla. One, how would they even do that? And two, it's in black and white and a little bit slow, especially Frankenstein. Frankenstein's kind of slow, the original. But I remember watching it when I was a little kid because you had 10 channels, and if it was the summer and you were actually allowed to stay up late, most of those channels had nothing on that you could possibly, like, one of them was a symphony channel, and one of them was channel 2 that just showed you the color bars. I'd stare at that for hours because there was nothing better on. But yeah, like,
it's a bold indictment of what was on at the time.
We actually saw, like, I don't know, I'm assuming you guys are in the same boat. I saw Creature from the Black Lagoon when I was a little kid. I saw Frankenstein. I saw Godzilla. I saw the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi. My parents didn't have to stop and show them to me. There was 7 channels and 6 of them sucked. So it was like, I'm watching this.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I think you're getting into sort of a whole nother dissection of like life and culture in the time we grew up in.
Yeah.
I think that like we've sort of had this discussion too about like streaming and the way things are now, that like when you have limitless possibilities, you both watch everything and nothing, right? That like all these things are at your disposal, so you flip around like looking for the thing and then sometimes just settling on like just dumb nonsense, right? So like I think that's one place where this generation is different from us. But like in terms of what you're talking about, Sean, with, you know, cable and stuff like that, right? Like in the early days of cable, which is what we experienced, we went from, you know, 3, 6, and 10 or whatever it was to then like basic cable, where there was Comedy Central and Sci-Fi and like all these things that were trying to fill their time, you know, where it's like these other things, it was like, oh, you have this time to put on a movie, or you have this time to air these popular shows or whatever. Now it was like you got to fill 24 hours of content, you know. And like we ended up watching like reruns of things from the 50s and 60s and 70s, you know, as well as like all the shows we grew up with, you know. So like I think we just have kind of like a different litmus as far as like experiencing culture and like what pop culture was throughout the decades.
Right. Comedy Central, I remember I saw a commercial not too long ago. I don't know what I was watching. Somehow I was watching a recording, because it was an old bit of Comedy Central, and you know, it was like up next on Comedy Central, and it would show you what was up next, and it was like Laurel and Hardy. Like they were literally just showing like a half hour of Laurel and Hardy, you know, black and white, whatever, or the Stooges, or, you know, Marx Brothers, or whatever, because they were like, we're Comedy Central, and we got to fill 24 hours, so let's just look back and what was funny. Here
was
we
it
go.
Announced in Penn Jillette's voice?
Yeah, it was. I didn't know my impression was that good that you nailed it.
I just so distinctly remember early Comedy Central stuff was all narrated by Penn Jillette, and I have a very strong nostalgia for that.
Followed by, there was like a stand-up TV show they had that was just like, you know, a different stand-up every time. I can't remember. Whatever it was.
Well,
yeah.
And probably the apex of this whole thing of them just trying to fill programming was that, like, you know, Mystery Science Theater took old movies and then made them funny, And that was like 2 hours of time that you didn't have to fill because it was a 2-hour movie. I remember, I remember our initial package didn't have Comedy Central in it. And then like we got like a preview of it. And I remember watching that preview on Thanksgiving. And I think the movie, the MST that was on was Alien from LA. And I was like, what is this? Like, I need this now. Oh.
We got away from Young Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, Young Frankenstein.
Lost the thread.
What the hell were we talking about?
Where's the train? I don't know. It's good, though. Love Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish I had a lot more to say about it. I don't really know how to dissect this movie.
It's one of the funniest movies ever. I mean, I stand by that. I was tired the other night. I was just trying to keep it together the other night we were watching it. But even in that state, like I was like, no, these bits are they're all bangers. Every joke is just, unlike Airplane, which, and again, I love Airplane, and I put that way up high too. Unlike Airplane, where they were like, F it, we'll make 1,000,000 jokes. Half of them will be funny. It'll be fine. By the time you're like, that joke wasn't funny, we already made you laugh at the next one. That's not Young Frankenstein. There's 1,000,000 jokes, and they're all funny. Every one is good. There's just hit after hit after hit. Like,
well,
again, perfect. Just perfect comedy.
That was one of the things that I was thinking about in my dissection of like, how does this thing hold up, right? Because like I do feel like this is a great movie. Like, I do feel like this is just a really sort of just amazing piece of culture and a amazing culmination of like a lot of awesome performances. I just think this thing is just sort of stands alone in a class that you can't touch, right? But like I compare it to other parody movies, right? And like when you think about something like Airplane or Top Secret, or even like the more modern stuff like Scary Movie and Not Another Teen Movie and some of that stuff, like those movies really don't have plots, like they do, but like kind of just a loose thing, like a loose guideline of a plot that serves as a way to just have one joke after the next and like make a ton of jokes. I think the thing with Mel Brooks movies, and like one of the ones that's an outlier, I think, is like History of the World Part 1, for example, right? Because like that sort of is a series of vignettes, right? Like that is like, now we're going to look at this time in history, and then this scene is going to be this time in history. So like, I think you can go a little crazy and make, try to jam all the jokes in that you can, because you can fashion that vignette around the jokes. But with most of his work, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs, Men in Tights, I think even like Blazing Saddles to a certain extent, like with Young Frankenstein, you're telling the Frankenstein story, right? The plot has to be, then this scene happens, then this scene happens. Like, it has to serve to tell the story, with a few creative exceptions, I think. And then you have to jam your jokes into that structure. So, I think Spaceballs and Men in Tights and stuff like that is a little more accessible for a modern audience, right? Because like, how many times have you seen Star Wars? How many times have you, whereas like this movie, Young Frankenstein, I think if you're a kid and you're watching a black and white movie that's about something from like almost the silent era, right? Like I'm not saying it's not great. I'm just saying sometimes I wonder what the rest of the world watching this, not when we were kids, thinks of it now. Like where do people's interests lie in terms of like dissecting how this
Can a
thing
parody
works.
really be as funny if you don't know the original?
Sorry, I didn't hear you,
I don't know.
Sean.
Can a parody really be as funny if you don't know the original? Right? And I don't know. Do kids today, would a younger person today really enjoy Blazing Saddles if they've never really
seen
watched a Western?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. We just watched Blazing Saddles pretty recently, and the kids enjoyed it.
Okay. Done and done. Good night, folks.
Just so happens. Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago, I think, we watched Blazing Saddles. And yeah, the kids thought it was pretty good.
But I think if you've never seen a Western and you don't know the trope of like, oh, now the sheriff has to come in and clean up this town or like whatever it is, right? Like Mel Brooks is still taking you on that journey. Like you just happen to be taking that journey through Blazing Saddles instead of, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or, High Plains Drifter or whatever, right? Like, I think that's why they enjoy it. I think it's the same thing with Spaceballs. You're, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It's weird.
He's a masterful filmmaker. I think they probably do hold up without the original parody, but it's got to be better knowing the parody.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, because like they didn't love the movies, they just really liked them. And I think that there is something to be said if you're looking at a parody, if you have an appreciation for what's being parodied versus this is just funny for the sake of funny. Yeah, I think there's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Mel Brooks's movies are in a class all of their own, and I think this one specifically is just such a special thing. And yeah, Gene Wilder is a big part of that. Like, my God, he I just like I don't know who today is doing what Gene Wilder did. Like he's so weird and off the wall in this movie while being like completely believable and completely in the character. And like I think that's not totally off brand for what he does. Like I think I've always thought the allure with what do you call it? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? Is like you don't know whether he cares about these kids or whether he wants them all dead. and like somehow that is what is engaging about that character. Like what a mysterious bananas character, but like that's the thing that sells it,
Yeah. I can't think of an actor doing that today. And you know what? As great as he was, Chris said, like Igor was his favorite, and I love Peter Boyle, and I love Peter Boyle in this. Like that scene where like he's next to the little girl, he just gives the camera a look like, oh God, we all know where this is going, right? Like it's just there's a good degree of subtlety to it, but still managing to sell these subtle little nods of jokes in a big way. So while Gene Wilder certainly, I think he does steal the show, there's just so many great performances right behind him.
No, you're right. It's filled with amazing performances. And Chris said that Marty Feldman is his favorite. I got to tell you, this is going to sound crazy, but Kenneth Mars is my favorite in this movie. Like, I always just thought that inspector was so bananas, right? And like, he doesn't have a ton of scenes, but like, I feel like the scenes that he's in are just so great. And then this time watching it, I've always loved the character. I've always been struck by how funny it was. But like, again, I think when I was a kid, I was only getting half of this. I was seeing that it was funny, but not always why it's funny. Like, he's got that arm that doesn't work, and I thought that was so funny. But the thing that's so funny about it is he goes out of his way to articulate it with his other arm. Like, it's not even like it's partially useful. It's that it's like detrimental because he can't do anything with it. He needs the other arm or other people to move his arm for him. Like, it's so stupid, but it's great.
There's also that whole Gene Hackman scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's the blind the hermit.
I don't know. Didn't realize. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen this. I just kind of forgot Gene Hackman was even in this movie. And
yeah, the scene with the little girl
there he
and
is.
the scene with the blind guy were also favorites of mine when I was a kid. I thought when the monster is out wreaking havoc in the town, that those were some like really gems of scenes.
Yeah, I know we didn't say a lot about it, and we talked far more about crap movies, but I mean, it's just, if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen that movie, that's at the end of the alphabet. We should pick our favorite movie from the alphabet, and this might be mine from this go through the alphabet. This is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah, this is a great movie. Yeah, I think Kenneth Mars' performance is so funny in this, and I guess he's another actor that I find really interesting because the only other thing I know him from is another Mel Brooks movie, which is the Producers. He's the crazy guy that writes the screenplay, the Springtime for Hitler screenplay. And when they find him, he's on the roof with all those pigeons, and he's got that soldier's helmet on, and he's like singing and stuff like that, you know. So like, I don't know. I guess I've just now associated him with like really wild, off the wall characters that aren't in much of the movie, but when they are in it, like they make a big splash, you know?
Yep.
Yep, that's what we have.
That's it. I don't know. I got nothing else to add. Good pick, Us.
Yeah.
Way to laugh the high ones. Good eye. Good eye. Walk it off.
Yeah, this is great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right. Well, then I guess we should probably wrap this up and figure out what we're doing next, huh?
Sure. I'll do that.
All right. Well,
Leprechaun 9.
The Leprechaun 9. Sorry, Zeprechaun.
Zeprechaun 9.
You want to talk about movies with slim pickings. I couldn't find a lot to go with Z, so I decided to stick with the same one that I voted for last year, which is Zathura, which is technically the sequel to Jumanji. I've never seen it. It's directed by Jon Favreau, and I heard it is adequate to pretty good.
That's a rousing recommendation.
Again,
There's the quote for the back of the box. Adequate to pretty good.
Adequate to pretty good.
I'm just very interested in it. It's got good looking box art. It's, I don't know. I liked Jumanji, and then they made this follow up to it. It's like, yo, it's Jumanji in space, but it's not. Like the book Jumanji, and this is like the follow up to that book, I think. And then for the movie, they were like, yeah, but we didn't like Jumanji that much. So the marketing is going to play into it, but we're going to kind of remove any Jumanji references. So it's still going to be a board game thing, but it's going to be set in space. I don't know. It's wild. Apparently, Roger Ebert really liked it, but then like some other critics were like, "Yeah, I don't know, it's not very good." But I think it looks super interesting.
I like Jumanji.
Is Robin Williams in it?
No.
All right, well then, fuck you. We're not picking it.
I mean, yes, he is.
All right.
Who's next?
Do you want to go, Sean, or should I?
No, go ahead. Because I got a backup. So if you pick mine, I'm
okay.
Ready.
Well, I did tell you guys that when we did our Y pick that I was going to tank my Y pick in hopes of strengthening my Z pick. You know, we didn't watch Young Giorgio or Yes Giorgio or whatever I said, even though you guys threw me a curveball there. But yeah, I have a fan request, a listener request for Z. At one point, Evan messaged me, and he said, there's a movie that you have to propose for Z. And I said, okay. And then he said, it's called... Wait, now I gotta check what the movie's called. I think it's called Zardos. I feel like I should check. Z-A-R... Yeah, Zardos.
Are you talking about the thing with Sean Connery?
Yeah. So he said it's called Zardos, and then I Googled it. And when you Google it, the first image that comes up is Sean Connery wearing nothing but a red Speedo and red bandoliers with cowboy boots on and some 6-shooters in his hands. and he's got a ponytail, and it looks like he's like out in some desert, like desert planet somewhere. So,
oh my!
I don't know what this movie is, but I saw that picture and I said, like, I can't not propose this. So, might be great, might be awful. Evan said it, and that's going to be my suggestion: is Zardos.
All right.
Ooh, boy.
Neither of mine were picked. I'm not surprised my backup wasn't picked. My backup was going to be Zombeaver, which I have seen, and it's everything you would think it would be. Might have been better for Halloween. Zombie beavers attacking scantily clad women in the woods. Every sexual joke you can think of is made. We're just looking for beavers, aren't we all? No, but I'm going to go with Zombie Land Double Tap because I loved the first one and I never sat and watched the second one for no good reason. I didn't hear anything bad about it. I thought the first one was wonderful and I just never got around to watching the sequel.
Okay.
So, the sequel to Zombie Land. I'm assuming you both saw the original.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, marvelous.
All right. So
and
then,
I also never watched the sequel for no good reason.
Yeah, so I will propose the sequel there, and that's my pick.
Fair enough.
Please allow me to read this paragraph from Wikipedia.
Sure.
Regarding Zardos. Borman decided to make the film after his abortive attempt at dramatizing The Lord of the Rings. Burt Reynolds was originally given the role of Zed, but subsequently declined due to illness. His place was taken by Sean Connery, who wanted to reinvent himself after portraying James Bond. I would say that this outfit is a pretty bold reinvention.
Yeah, right? You're looking at that picture?
I sure am.
Yeah, like it's so
Kinda hard
bananas
not
that
to.
I was like, all right, you got me hooked, pal.
I don't think I've ever sat and watched Zardos, but I was fully aware of it, the rough outline of the plot, and Sean Connery's red Speedo, because it's referenced in a bunch of stuff. Like Futurama's referenced it a couple times. The professors come out in that costume, which is exactly as horrifying as looking at Sean Connery in it.
She's got a ponytail. I mean, it's a Speedo with suspenders, basically.
I thought it was bandoliers, right? Is it like
sure,
ammo belts?
But they appear to be acting as suspenders for his Speedo. And thigh-high boots. I don't know, man, because I also kind of want to see the double tap there. This is quite the conundrum. Giving me a lot to think about.
We came up with 3 reasonable choices for a Z movie. Good for us.
You could always pick the one you want to talk about more and still watch the other one, Chris. I mean, we also just spent half this podcast talking about 8 Leprechaun movies, so we can make a right turn.
How you guys find the time? I just don't.
We don't have. Well, no, Paul's got a kid. What are you doing, Paul? How are you doing this? I don't have kids. Suckers.
His phone entertains him most of the time. He goes and watches his phone, and then I watch bad movies. I also
I think I'm
stay
ready.
up later than I should, and things like that.
Red leader standing by.
Gold leader standing by.
Blue leader standing by. Go.
All right.
That was suspenseful. Chris's came in last for me.
Yeah,
that was suspenseful.
Me too.
All right, we're going with Zardos.
You chumps.
All
All
I can't
our
wait.
fans are chumps.
That's our November pick, just in time for Thanksgiving.
Well, we went with a great movie. We'll balance that out with.
Hey, maybe this is gonna. I mean, could it really be worse than King Solomon's Mines?
Is that the standard of bad? Come on, we've gone way worse than that. Young Einstein zapped.
No,
King
I mean
Solomon's
like
Mines is a gem.
of this genre.
Oh, this is outer spacey. I think.
Right, but it's fantasy adjacent.
Sure.
We do usually close out the alphabet with some garbage, so it was nice that we got Young Frankenstein in there.
Yeah, that was a
It was nice that we got Young Einstein in there. You're right.
way to redeem the word young. All right, well there you go. Your homework is Zardos, which we'll be getting to in November if we can all survive. A Theater Near You is a part of the Geekade Podcast Network, and if you'd like to get in touch with us to share your comments, movie suggestions, or whatever, you can send us an email at mail@geekade.com. You can also be found on most social media outlets and the official Geekade Discord server, all of which can be found in our show notes. If you'd like early access to this podcast and several others on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out the Geekade Patreon, linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running and our site shiny and clean. Thank you for listening to all of our Leprechaun goodness, and we'll see you next time in a theater near you.